since the ignorance you like.
Welcome to Irrelevant Ignorance, where sometimes our ignorance isn't always irrelevant. And here we go. The free agency is underway and it is going crazy. We've had trades, we had signings, we had the draft like right before that. This is unprecedented times in the NBA because, of course, everything got pushed back and delayed. So much going on, so much to get into. So let's just get straight into it. But how did you enjoy all of this week?
Man, Christmas came early, man.
For real, for real.
Christmas came early. This free agency was everything we thought it was going to be and some.
Mm-hmm.
The draft, we had some surprises and some really scary stuff. And we had some goods,
Yeah.
But it just was a nice treat for everybody to just get ready for basketball to be back in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, like if you could have seen me this week, like I was in like the corners of the internet, refreshing, searching people's names.
Man, you was beating Woj, man.
Yeah,
Before I got Woj bombs, man, you was hitting me up like, hey, such a sign here. I'm like, dang, man, Woj ain't even tell me yet.
Yo, I was on the scoops.
Meech bombs.
I love that. I was on the scoops. I was in the corners of the web looking at any team reporters.
Where your phone at? I'm gonna have to check your phone. You got numbers, huh? You got direct numbers now, huh?
Hey, listen, yo. Hey, I'm getting this business. But let's jump straight to the free agency. Let's start it off with our your LA Lakers. I like to say I'm signed here on a contract or whatever.
Right.
But the Lakers did a lot. Let's start with acquiring Wesley Matthews. Let's start with literally about 30 minutes ago, acquiring Marc Gasol.
Excellent.
Let's talk about Montrezl Harrell.
That was a shocker right there.
You know what? I'm going to say let's talk about re-signing KCP, but let's just get straight into this. Like, which one you want to hit on first? Because the Lakers have hit a home run from Dennis Schroeder to these moves.
The biggest surprise, I would say, Harrell.
Yes.
Like, we didn't see this coming. There was a lot of people that was mentioned to us. Like, Montrez walked from the other locker room, the other side of the building, over to us. Like,
man.
He seen that banner raised, and he was like, you know what? The best chance of getting one of them boys right there.
Hey, man. Hey, Clutch Sports strikes again.
And he ain't got to move.
He ain't got to move. He probably ain't even got to change his locker. I don't know how. I don't know how Staples is set up. They probably do got a Clippers and a Lakers locker.
They probably do,
But oh my God, what a move! Like you alluded to, this is something that I've never even seen on the wire. As a matter of fact,
nobody was talking about this.
Nobody. Like I felt Montrez was gonna leave the Clippers.
I didn't think he was coming to the Lakers.
There was literally no thought in my mind that he'd end up a Laker, like at all. And
Sixth man of the year, man.
6th man of the year. Dennis Schroeder finished second in 6th man of the year. So we got the first place and second place. We got the second place for defensive player of the year in Anthony Davis. The second place for MVP in LeBron James. All we missing is the most improved. Like,
where he at? Let's get him over here too.
Hey, that might be cool with this shit. You never know. But
yeah, man.
They stacked the deck. We are loaded. We acquired a shooter in Wesley Matthews, who's been shooting.
3-and-D guy too.
3-and-D guy who's been shooting pretty good for his whole career. I think I saw something that he never dropped below 35% or something like that.
Did you see the numbers compared to Danny Green? He did. His numbers were pretty much very similar last year. So if you take him and you put him in Danny Green's spot, he does the same exact thing Danny Green does. We didn't miss a beat.
It's like every position we kind of upgraded on that we lost because, like, we were get more into it later, but we lost Dwight Howard, who was a defensive player of the year, who's a very active player. But we got Marc Gasol, who's also a former defensive player of the year and could knock down the three ball,
mid three, all of that pass, and then his brother, Powell.
Yo, when I first found out that we was after Gasol, I was like, yo, get him on the phone. Get Powell on the phone. Tell him we'll get him number 16. Whatever he wants. Just come on.
For real, man. White Mamba. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The White Swan. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, we got a Gasol back in LA.
Hey, just so you know, just to drop a little curve bomb, you know what I'm saying? Or should I say curve ball,
Good.
Anyway, Mark was drafted by LA,
that, yeah.
Traded for Powell.
Traded for Powell, same move.
And it's funny how that works. Funny how that works, man.
Comes full circle, but enough gushing over it or whatever. No, I'm not done gushing over it. I just want people to understand, like, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but we're in repeat territory.
And the roster looks, like, on paper, way better than last year's roster. Because we didn't really make the moves that we wanted to. And it seems like this year, this offseason, because we weren't, like, hamstrung by anything, we were able to make moves, like, nice moves that definitely put the team where they wanted to be. I couldn't even tell you that last year's team was really, like, the team that should have won the championship, but the way everything shook out, we won it, and I ain't gonna take it back. So we're gonna take it around with it. But this year's team just feels destined to repeat.
Like what you alluded to right there. Last year's team, we had low key so many flaws.
Yes.
That the teams just weren't capable of exploiting them or whatever.
For real.
We literally came through and covered up all our. I honestly believe this might be one of the best teams LeBron has ever played on. Granted, if they win in the end.
For real.
Because I don't think LeBron has ever really had somebody off the bench as potent as Dennis Schroeder. And nevertheless, a 6-man of the year in Montrezl Harrell.
And one of these two guys might end up starting, you know.
I don't think neither one of them start.
But
I think we're going to start Mark.
I mean, it depends. Like, Schroeder could start. Like, it depends because it's just interesting to see how we're going to shape this. Like, we got so many options, so many decisions to make, and it's not bad decisions, it's positive decisions. Like, so.
Yeah, I only reason why I think the lineup is going to be pretty much the exact same from last year. Swap out Danny Green for Wes Matthews. And then I think Marc Gasol is going to start at the center, swapping out for JaVale McGee or whatever. Because even though I love Montrezl Harrell and everything, we cannot forget how he got exposed in the playoffs by Jokic. So we needed somebody to still contend with Jokic and a big body. And I'm so glad that we got Mark to be the one to fill that.
And I'm hearing Kuz might be playing a little bit more wing.
I hope so. Kuz start at the 3 and he can really get slot into his real position.
Yeah, I'm hearing like that. I like that.
Like, that's still an X factor that's still hanging out there is Kuzma's growth. Not only is it an X factor for that.
I heard he was working with Draymond.
Draymond Green?
Yeah.
I don't want to work with Draymond Green. No, nothing that Draymond Green does I want on this
I'm
team.
just saying, like, just to work out with an NBA vet, though. Nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. And then that's a clutch sport. That's a family. You know the vibes. That's a family. I wouldn't be surprised if Draymond is our 4 next year. But I just want to. No Meech Bomb. I don't want that. No Meech Bomb. But I do wonder, like, how nervous were you about KCP?
Because man, that was nerve-wracking.
When I tell you, like, as much as we've talked about KCP and we've come on here and apologized about KCP,
yes.
I just felt like if we lost KCP, the whole offseason would have just felt flat to me.
We got a deal for him. Like, you know, it was more money out there for him. The way he performed in the playoffs, he made him some money. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like, to take $10 million a year, like, he could have got, like, anywhere. They said, like, anywhere from, like, 15 to 17 million a year.
Man, that's Rich Paul and Clutch Sports working. This is the Clutch Sports Lakers. Jeannie Buss has to literally thank the heavens for Rich Paul. Because Rich Paul...
He represents everybody on our roster damn near. For real.
But like Rich Paul and Rob Pelinka, the move they're doing to bring the Lakers back to this and set us up to keep going, or to set them up to keep going.
But that's why they paid him that first time we got him too. Because he had a nice contract when he first got there.
When he wasn't deserving it, they still kept paying him, and
he was making more.
And I think that was just their plea to Clutch Sports. Like, yo, we taking care of your boy. It's good over here. Then LeBron came. Then all the rest of Clutch Sports came down.
Man.
So
AD said, let me get in this.
Yeah. So now they're going into the season with 14 roster spots, it looked like, which is usually, I believe they kept a roster spot open last year as well, just for players that might get bought out. Yeah. And then if Marquise Morris,
they still got that extra spot too, don't they? This year, though.
Who?
Remember they went up to 16 for the Roman Kobe.
Oh, then we got 2 spots left then.
Because remember, that's how we was able to flex JR and all of that.
But I didn't know if that stayed at the bubble. I didn't know if they brought that over into the regular. I don't know.
Because I feel like you do need that. I think they might keep that because, you know, you need that extra spot just in case something would have happened.
I think what they're going to tell us, if they don't keep that spot, I think what they're going to say is, like, you have a G League team for a reason. Go get your G Leaguer and bring them down or whatever the case is. But I'm super happy. I'm ready to play ball now. It's time to go. Lakers.
2K, can we get the update on the roster so I can go work with these boys?
Yeah, it's probably they haven't signed these deals yet.
It's probably gonna be sometime next week.
Yeah, it's like a momentary period or whatever, unless they skip that as well. But I don't know. If we go into the season, if we could go into it with 16 spots and we sign one more now, I just want to put this out there. I'm gonna just put this out there. I don't know if it's gonna happen. Derrick Rose, he's gonna get dropped by the Pistons. Lakers, they will be in position if it happens. If it happens, I'm just telling that out there. If it happens, if Derrick Rose is available, I think that I know you don't want it. But I'm just letting you know that's still out there. Or we can go get Rondo back. One of those two. But
anyway, the Lakers built this roster to compete even when LeBron sits out.
Absolutely. So that's the beauty of it. It's like when LeBron's down, they should still be able to
These boys should still be able to hoop. We just added like 2 15 to 18 point per game scores.
Yeah, no, it's lit. But let's move on to the Bucks. The Bucks, they traded for Drew Holiday. They signed Bobby Portis, DJ Augustine, Torrey Craig, and Byron Forbes. Now, I love some of those names. DJ Augustine is a really good pro.
Yes.
But I think his height just creates so many problems for teams.
At least 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, somewhat down.
Yeah.
His height creates so many problems. But like I said, he's a great offensive point guard.
Yes.
Byron Forbes, I love that move a lot because that's one of them Spurs guards I'll be talking about a lot. So I'm happy they got him. Bobby Portis is always solid. They lost Robin Lopez. But like we mentioned, they got Drew Holiday, which is the creme de la creme of all of this. And that trade happened, I think, the day we got done recording or like the next day, one of the two. How do you feel about the Bucks getting Drew Holiday and adding him to this mix?
Man, I love the Drew Holiday pickup.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's definitely, I felt like Bledsoe was probably one of their weak points, one of their weakest spots on that roster.
Yeah.
We spoke on this occasionally a lot of times actually about, how what's the name? Brogdon should have been the guy that stayed because he was young, youth wise. You wanted somebody like that to come up with Giannis.
Yeah, that's what this move was oh my bad.
It really was.
Yeah. Because
clearly we already know Holiday is the better player. Offensively and defensively. Don't get me wrong. Bledsoe was a nice defensive player, but like Holiday is just better.
When anybody would tell me like anything about the Bucks, like I will always just say, I mean, Eric Bledsoe ain't gonna be that help because in the playoffs he just doesn't have that whatever it is when the lights get a little bit brighter. He just wasn't able to perform in those times,
and that's why he wasn't the first guard taken out of Kentucky.
Yeah,
yeah, we know why John Wall was better.
Yeah, he was actually John Wall's backup or whatever.
Yeah, they actually played together.
No, they played together, but he was more so the backup point guard.
But you know why?
Yeah, yeah, for real. But and then before I move on, I actually love the pickup of Drew Holiday. I think it creates an interesting. I've seen them being called a big three. They are not a big three.
Yeah,
it's Giannis and them. But I do think Drew Holiday brings something to the
Giannis
table.
and company.
Yeah, Giannis and company. I think he brings something to the table for the better guards in the East. His matchup against Kyrie Irving will be big time, which is a team they'll be running up against. So they did their thing in getting Drew Holiday, one of the most well-respected players across the league or whatever. But now another headline we was gearing up to come in here and talk about is the Bucks trading for Bogdan from the Sacramento Kings.
They botched that so hard. Man.
For like a whole day, we went thinking that Bogdan was going to be a Milwaukee Buck. And then like the next day, everything came out because Bogdan was like, yo, we didn't agree with this. Almost got the Milwaukee Bucks in trouble. The Bucks and the Kings in trouble. They got looked up into tampering or whatever.
Yeah. That pickup would have been the icing on the cake. Mm-hmm. Like, this roster is still solid. Mm-hmm. But the pickup of Bogdan would have been like, yeah, they really competing. Mm-hmm. It sucks as a Bucks fan because you get hype and just to get your ice cream knocked out your hand by the big bully. Mm-hmm. it was definitely something a lot of people were talking about, how serious this team looked, ready to compete.
Yeah.
Now it's like back to the drawing board, and they had to figure out how to maneuver around it and put something together without it. And I think they did a pretty solid job. I just don't think there's no coming back from that, because
I
Bogdan,
think the embarrassment of that was a lot.
Yeah, it's just
like, because what I was gonna ask is with Bogdan, but it don't matter because he's not there. But like with this team as currently built, would you advise Giannis to re-sign now, or would you still
hell no
next year?
Hell no, I would wait till next year. Bogdan would have been like, yeah, Giannis, they weren't playing, because he would have been locked in for a minute.
Yeah,
would have been locked in for a minute. Then you got Holiday. Like, they got younger. First of all, they went and got younger, and then they got pieces that actually fit. They put shooters around them, better shooters around them, especially with the addition of Holiday, and a better point guard, a better shooter, a better defender. And then you get Bogdan, who's one of the better shooters in the league. Nice size. He can play the 2 or the 3. But it's just, when that deal just fell through, it was like, okay, yeah, take this contract out, get it out my face for right now. We're going to have to revisit this later. I'm not signing it now.
Like, I hope Giannis was watching that situation eyes wide open, because that, to me, right there shows exactly why he needs to wait till next year. Yes. That was, like, I don't even want to clown the Bucks, but that was poverty franchise stuff right there. Like, that was poverty franchise material. To go through having everyone thinking that trade went through, and then to have that turned around because y'all never even talked to the player, it appears, or talked to that agent, or maybe misunderstood what was going on. Like, Giannis, if you're with Milwaukee from here on, this is what your career is going to be about. No one wants to play in Milwaukee. This is what we've been saying on Front Street.
It's trades. Ain't nobody signing there.
This, everything we've been saying about him and staying was put on Front Street, and I hope he was paying attention, because this is exactly how it's going to go if you re-sign with the Bucks. I also wonder, because when the Jrue Holiday pick, in the Jrue Holiday trade, they traded a ton of picks. I wonder, would they have even completed that trade if they had knew the Bogdan trade wasn't going to come through? Because in my mind, they traded all those picks to get both Jrue Holiday and Bogdan. Even though they were separate trades, in my mind, they put that together to get that done.
It all made sense when you saw that Holiday was coming, and then right off back, you seen Bogdan was coming. But then, like I said, when it just fell through, and like I told you, they did give a lot up for Holiday. Like, not saying that Holiday is not a really good player, but that's the problem. He's a really good player. He's not a great player. He's a really good player. He doesn't do one thing great. He does everything good. You know what I'm saying? Really good player. So, like, when you take that into consideration, what they gave up for him, it was like damn near the AD trade or something like that. Like, it was damn near the Paul George trade. Like, this was like, that's the type of mortgage they did for him.
Yeah.
And you don't do that deal without knowing that you had something else in the works.
Yeah.
So like you said, if you Giannis, I'm gonna slow my roll for a second.
Yeah, like what you just alluded to, if you don't do that deal with something else, like when the Clippers made that deal for Paul George or whatever, giving up everything, they made that deal with the thought process of Kawhi Leonard.
You got Kawhi. If that fell through and you gave up everything to get Paul George, you kind of stuck.
Yeah. So and then bringing it into the Bucks situation, let's say this team don't work. Like they got to get to the finals. Let's say they fizzled out before the conference finals or in the conference finals. Now you have no room to grow because all your picks are gone. And that's kind of what you rely on to restock the team. So now you don't have those draft picks to push around. They still kept Chris Middleton. They could still dangle Chris Middleton around the teams to try and move him for some help, I guess, later on down the road. Yeah. But they put themselves in a really tough situation, especially once the Bogdan trade wasn't able to go through. Because
what about the players? Like, I even spoke on this with you earlier in the week, was like, when we traded Lamar Odom, you know what I'm saying, to try to bring in, who was we trying to bring in?
Was it Chris Paul?
Yeah, we tried to bring in Chris Paul, yeah. With that, and you know, the players that was in that deal, it was kind of like, they was hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you kind of mess relationships up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like somebody like Diz and Chingo.
Yeah, because now he's still there.
Dante is a really solid player, and he's still growing. He's young,
but his character of player, the cloth he's cut from, I think he'll be able to move past it.
He'll be able to move past it, but then down the line, if he becomes a really solid scorer, if he takes that next step, and it's contract time, who's to say? Y'all tried to trade me back in 2020. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
So Dante wasn't in the New Orleans trade; he was in the Kings one.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
But
which is tough because he was a big piece for them last year. Mm-hmm. Coming into the bubble, you know, that a player that came out of Villanova season, we knew he was a capable shooter. Definitely a really good, solid role player, and who knows what type of player he'll be down the line. He's still growing, still learning. So you don't want to just. You pretty much got to play kiss and make up right now.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, but then we talked about Torrey Craig. I don't think I mentioned him when I said that of the moves I like. I really like Torrey Craig move as well, coming over from Denver.
Yep.
Denver was a situation where they was just running out of minutes for all these players. They had so many quality players,
guards, so many wings. Yeah. With the emergence of Porter, you kind of gotta.
Yeah, no more support. Yeah.
And then just drafted somebody. So we'll probably talk about that later. But it's just. Yeah. Like, they just got a lot of riches.
And they re-signed Millsap, which I thought was not going to happen at all.
Yeah.
So that was a good re-signing for them. But let's move on to the 76ers. The 76ers, they're having an incredible offseason as well, from the coaching hire to the GM hire. Well, not GM, but the president hire.
Yes.
To now going into the players. They got Dwight Howard. They just acquired Seth Curry.
Yep.
What do you think about the moves that the Sixers have made so far this offseason?
I think they're definitely focusing on, like, let's take this roster we have and let's push forward, because it's now or never. And these were now or never moves. You know, even with the pickups in the draft, like, these were now or never moves. Like, you know, Seth is a shooter that we've been talking about, somebody that gives you JJ Redick feels. Like, we need somebody that could come in.
I think
and knock that shot down.
Statistically, he has the highest 3-point percentage in like NBA history or something like that.
Yes.
So that's.
I mean, look at his background. That's Stephen Curry's little brother. That's Dale Curry's son. You know what I'm saying? So, like, somebody like that coming in is a big need. You know, I hate to see it. You know, take the L from my team over there in Dallas, but you know. It's definitely an excellent pickup. Something that we talked about for a minute. Like, they need a 2. They need a shooter. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, the pickup of Dwight is just, you just need insurance. You know, it's never wrong. It's never nothing wrong with getting some insurance for your big, like Embiid. You know, between Embiid and Simmons, you know, both of them. You know, you got to kind of ensure that we have them, and when you don't have them, you need something to come in and fill them roles. Yeah,
because Embiid is going to miss games. That's just the way it is. He's going to miss games over the course of the year. So it's great to have a resurgent Dwight Howard or whatever. My thing is with the Dwight signing is he's going to need kind of minutes restrictions and things as well, because he's gone through his own personal injuries. Yeah. The beauty of him in LA was that we only needed him in specific moments in time, so he was able to give 100% full effort.
Put more pressure on himself.
Those moments, yeah, and absolutely more pressure on himself.
And Dwight should understand that in his career, he's done that a lot. He's put a lot of pressure on himself in certain spots. Leaving LA was probably it's probably going to be the biggest mistake he probably made in his life, but you know, one man
over $1 million too is what I'm seeing. It was $1 million was the difference between keeping Dwight and him leaving. But also, I think keeping that personality in check is probably a lot to keep Dwight, as opposed to what we ended up getting, which is Marc Gasol and everything.
Which I love it. So, you know, I ain't mad at it. You know, you helped us. It's cool. You know, I ain't got nothing bad. You know, a lot of people pissed and mad about it, but you know what?
You seen he announced it via Twitter that he was staying, and then
you came in and you did what you were supposed to do. You helped us get in our ring. You know, you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day. Yeah. So it is still a business. So I can't, you know, knock you for that.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. You know, wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, and then they drafted Tyrese Maxey, who was the
Yes.
clutch first point guard that was working out with Anthony
Nice,
Edwards.
nice pickup.
And that was a really nice pickup. And from that workout, I was kind of intrigued by him. But now they got him there.
What a steal where they got him at too.
Yeah. I'm really liking what Philly did this season. Like, I'm tempted to say that they will be my representatives of the Eastern Conference, but that's unless everything with Brooklyn
And I
just
want to
don't
shout
work
out
out.
the other guard, like I told you earlier, Isaiah Joe.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know too much about him. I'm gonna start doing a little homework on him, but I heard he's a really, really really nice kid that has a nice touch, deep range.
Yeah.
Out of Arkansas. So I'm gonna definitely dig into some of his tape and see what they're getting. Actually, a nice average in college too.
Yeah, and then they've seen to do pretty all right with locating
Yeah.
rookies right now because they had what's the rookie from last year? Matisse Thybulle.
Okay.
That's enough. So I'm really like, because they got Thybulle, they got Danny Green, they got Seth Curry, they got Dwight. I'm really liking Philly next year. Like I said, we'll get into as once rosters settle and everything, and we start to get into training camp and everything. We'll break down teams that we're expecting to come out the East and West and all that jazz or whatever. But early on, like I said, unless everything breaks down in Brooklyn, I could really believe that it'll be Philly in the Eastern Conference Finals. But like you alluded to earlier, Dwight had to take care of himself.
Yep.
Another player had to take care of himself for this possibly his last contract, or at least his last contract of this magnitude, and that's Rajon Rondo. As we alluded to, Rajon is not with the Lakers no more.
Yep.
He signed with the Atlanta Hawks. I really actually love what the Hawks did this offseason.
Yeah, they did some solid moves.
Yeah, they signed Gallinari, they signed Chris Dunn, they signed Rondo, and they put in an offer sheet for Bogdan. So we'll see what happens with that or whatever. He's a restricted free agency if the Kings choose to match. But even outside of him, I really like the Hawks, and I like their chances of competing for that play-in game in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
How do you feel about some of the moves they made and everything?
I don't know if you've seen who they drafted, the kid out of USC.
I've seen it. I'm
and
not familiar.
And they was talking about him potentially going over Wiseman. Now he's 6'9", but he's somebody who was pretty good at USC.
Yeah.
Rebound, defensive guy, very capable, nice wingspan. So
what position is he?
He's probably gonna be more so a power forward.
Power forward.
Center. He's tweener in between.
That makes me kind of curious because I seen rumors that John Collins looking for a max contract, and then they immediately draft the power forward. I wonder if there's something going on with John Collins or whatever. Because they already we got to remember they already got Clint Capella. They had just got him at the deadline, who's going to be fantastic in that system with Trae Young and the ability to throw lobs to him. But I really anytime I think of the Atlanta Hawks, I think of them as the Phoenix Suns of the Eastern Conference.
Okay.
As far as how their trajectories are going, I like to compare Trae Young and Devin Booker. Even though Devin has been around a little bit longer, I kind of put their progression and their team's progression in the same package.
Just off the strength of what they've done, you know what I'm saying, and what he's going to try to do.
Yeah. But like I said, I really like what the moves they made or whatever. Rondo, them getting Rondo was key to help Trae Young's development. Yes. But I don't know. For some reason in my mind, I can't see Rajon Rondo finishing the season with the Atlanta Hawks. I see them, especially once they got Chris Dunn, who was probably one of, if not one of the best. He's one of the best defensive point guards in the NBA right now. So it kind of makes me curious of how they're gonna do that. Unless Rondo, because I know he want to be a coach when he's done. Unless he takes this moment to just really flat out be that player coach and just really help. If he got any game left that he want to put on a high level playoff showcase, it's not gonna be there. And I could see them trading him at the deadline, or maybe I don't see them cutting him, but maybe a trade at the deadline, maybe to like a Clippers or something like that, especially with how much the Clippers had wanted him. But let's move on to just some other moves that just happened or whatever. Some that I want to highlight was the Blazers. I really felt like the Blazers did some really good moves. Robert Covington is one of my favorite players in the NBA, and they went and got him. Not favorite players in the NBA, but one of the players I really enjoy to watch. But they went and got him. Yeah. They went and got Derrick Jones, who's young and athletic. They went and got Harry Giles, who I think if he has anything left in him, then that's going to be phenomenal. and then they re-signed Melo or whatever. Any teams did anything that you want to hit on?
I mean, not really, just all off the Lakers and stuff like that. I'm just, draft.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, a couple other little key signings then is the Clippers signed Ibaka, which I think is huge for them. They reunite Ibaka and Kawhi. I went through the numbers of just Ibaka going against Anthony Davis, and there were some games where Anthony Davis snapped on him, but for the most part, he do a really good job of defending Anthony Davis. So that's going to be a nice little thing to watch and if he could defend Jokic, I got to go see how Ibaka and Jokic played against each other. But I don't know if those numbers are skewed since it might have been Marc Gasol sticking them. So I have to go see how those numbers looked or whatever. But also the Celtics signed Tristan Thompson and Jeff Teague. And I really like the Tristan Thompson signing because I've been trying to get the Celtics a big for a while. Now, he's not the defensive big I want, but he's going to get them rebounds and he's going to be there for the putbacks and everything. And then Jeff Teague is always a solid backup point guard. I actually want him on the Lakers for a while. But let's move on. We're done with free agency portion. We can talk a little bit more free agency a little later, but the NBA draft just happened as well. We can't forget the draft happened. Draft night, a lot of young adults, whole lives changed in a matter of seconds right there. We saw a bunch of tears. Everyone was crying everywhere. It was to the point that I was almost like, all right, suck it up. You're millionaires now. Let's do this. But let's go through some of these teams. How did you even enjoy the draft, though?
It was pretty much straightforward for a second.
Yeah.
For the first 3 picks.
Yeah, it really was.
And then, it just was like, wow, really interesting. It was a lot of surprises, a lot of steals. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought the draft was pretty weak this year going into it and everything. And even coming out of it, I still believe that. But I did find it interesting trying to guess who's going to be the mans and all of that or whatever. Yeah. But let's start at the top. The Timberwolves, they draft Anthony Edwards. I think they made the right choice. Just ready to see him play now, see what that ends up being. Anything you want to hit on with T-Wolves? We pretty much knew that was going
Jaden McDaniels is somebody that I saw that they were saying is an intriguing player. Said a little inconsistent in college. Yeah. That was the Lakers pick, actually, that was traded over to them. Kid out of Washington, 6'10". He's pretty much going to be a stretch for they actually was looking for. So it's definitely somebody to look into. I heard he has a lot of potential, so we're going to see how that works. But Anthony Edwards was pretty much the no-brainer for them at that number 1 pick. I didn't see LaMelo Ball fitting with them. I didn't see Wiseman fitting with them. I just felt like with that number 1 pick, if you weren't going to take Anthony Edwards, you trade out of there.
Yeah. But then let's get to the Warriors now. A lot actually happened for the Warriors.
Yeah.
They drafted James Wiseman, but I believe the day of the draft or the day before the draft, one of those two, we found out that Klay got injured. He actually ruptured his Achilles, which is devastated. We always talk about how devastating the Achilles injury is, and he hurt it in working out with other players. How did you feel about not only the Wiseman signing, but the Wiseman draft, but also Klay going down and everything?
You never want to see a player of that caliber, Klay, go down, especially somebody working back from the ACL. I'm just hearing it's pretty much just so much weight, so much rehab and stuff getting put on that ACL leg that he overworked. You know what I'm saying? His other. And that's what happened with the Achilles. I mean, it's tough. Like I said, this was a team we were saying that is definitely gonna be back in the mix. And I think the Kelly Oubre pickup is something that is to watch because
they signed Kent Bazemore too. So they like committeeing up that Klay replacement.
So now not saying that he's Klay, but he did average 18 points a game last year. He's definitely somebody to watch.
Do you think the Warriors are capable of making the playoffs this year with this roster?
I think they still can. I think they still can.
I don't know.
It's gonna come down to coaching. It's really gonna come down to coaching and how Steve Kerr rallies his troops and gets them together. Just as long as they don't put too much which I don't think they will, because I feel like what they drafted and also what they have on the roster, what we got to see last year, it shouldn't put too much on Steph. Because another guy, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if that's why I said I'd be digging. The guy they took out of Arizona, Nico, point guard, Nico Mansion. He's actually somebody that was talking about a late first round pick. He could have been a late first round pick. They actually were talking about the Lakers was looking into him. A kid that's definitely gonna be a decent little point guard for them. So it's just somebody to watch too. So and they usually draft well, so that's why I'm not really worried about them in that aspect. Anybody they take, look at the team last year, from undrafted rookies to actual rookies that they took in the second, first round, mostly second. They've been pretty good for them. So I'm not, too hard on what's gonna happen. I think missing Clay does make some of us hesitate, but I think that the Kelly Oubre pickup was really, really low key, and it may help them.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a very important year for Steph Curry and Steve Kerr's. I hesitate to say their legacy, because once you've done the things that they've accomplished, you really, to me, can't take step backs, but you can stay still. You can stay in the current predicament, the current ranking that you is, and people can go ahead and pass you or whatever. But it never takes away from what you've done. Yeah. But I will say this: the injury happened. Clay is down. We know we're going into the year just like last year. But last year I was willing to give them excuses. I was willing to give them an excuse of, okay, this is a shock. They coming off this legendary streak. They just lost KD as well. Yeah. Now they gotta go ahead and contend to make the playoffs. They cannot fall out the playoffs to me, so we're gonna have to start looking at them a little bit like, whoa, what's going on? Steph Curry is quiet as kept when he went before he got hurt, and once he came back, he was not taking over the league like how I wanted him to. Yeah, Draymond Green, I think his body is so banged up for his height that he is just what he is, and he's not gonna be an all-star no more.
He's pretty much definitely somebody's gonna slide into his spot eventually. Yeah, they got enough bodies right there where potential people to come in.
Yeah, but to me, this is now one of those legendary moments to solidify yourself, and I think that the Warriors are going to benefit the most from this season not being traditional in a way of they don't have to make it to the number 8 seed. They just got to make it to number 9. And then
you don't want to play them at number 9.
Yeah, you don't want to play, because now you got this championship level team that get to try and rely on that experience and try to put it all together to win 2 games.
Hell, if you the Lakers, you praying they get in like 7.
Yeah, 6. Like you praying they move up. Like actually, once they get into the playoffs, I think they'll be bounced first round regardless. But for the Memphises and the Phoenix Suns and teams that's going to be battling down there at the bottom of the West, that's something that they should be worried about. And the Warriors, their motivation for this season should just be keep it close. Keep it close. Get to that play-in game. And then that's when you rely on your playoff veterans, your Steph Currys, your Draymond, and you hope that they can help push this team. And I think Ken Bazemore might have used to play for them too, I believe. I can't recall.
Yeah, he did.
But now you rely on that knowledge and everything, and you hope the young James Wiseman is just ready to go for those set of games, and as well as all the other players that they have on their rosters. But it's a very important year for all of them to me, because they got to make some type. They can't just fold and fall into the lottery again.
Nah,
that's not an option to me.
It's now or never.
This stadium ain't cheap. This stadium that they just built ain't cheap. Even though they can't put fans in it, I'm sure they still want to provide a winning team. But let's move on to the next team, the Charlotte Hornets. They drafted LaMelo Ball. Mm-hmm. And Jordan made a splash by signing Gordon Hayward to an absurd 4-year, $120 million contract. Whoever is his agent, please manage us. He probably would get us on ESPN SportsCenter covering the whole show if he could.
Man.
He was phenomenal. What do you think about those set of moves that the Hornets made?
I think the Ball move was excellent. Mm-hmm. Great value at the 3 spot. Like I said, it wasn't no clear cut, but outside of Wiseman, it wasn't nobody that was gonna fit that team better than Ball. Mm-hmm. And the Hayward, I mean, I hope he could. He showed flashes last year. He wasn't like bad. So I mean, it's just like a lot of people say, you don't just give 120 million out if you're not trying to contend. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to it. It's not the caliber of the players. What it is I'm not giving out big money if you're not going to come in here and make a change on my team. Like, that's the type of people we give it big money to. Like, if it was anybody else, if it was the Phoenix Suns and they gave him 120 to come play for them, okay, I can see that because y'all like, we finna go out here and win now.
Yeah.
But like somebody like Charlotte, you know, first of all, you was in the lottery for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I borderline think the Hornets just need somebody to tie some salary into to push it. Because you know there's a salary floor in the NBA that you have to sign. Because there's no reason. When Gordon Hayward first opted out of the Celtics deal, I thought he was foolish.
Yeah.
When he opted out of all that money and everything, I was like, yo, he ain't getting that nowhere. I actually would start throwing him around with the Lakers for the MLE or whatever.
Shoot, come over here. We need to shoot him.
So and then to see him be able to secure this level of contract, that's crazy to me. Yeah. But like I said, I think they borderline just want to spend some money on somebody, and they always they're talking about it a lot now. Jordan tried to get Gordon Hayward originally, so now he just finally securing it. But I don't even think that's the connection they need to be looking forward to. I think the connection is LaMelo and Miles Bridges. I think Miles Bridges is big time dunks, big time everything. That pick and roll between him and LaMelo, throwing those lobs up to Miles Bridges, that's gonna be must see TV or whatever. Yeah. So I like
him another shooter though. Give him another shooter in the corner. Yeah. So I mean that's a positive to take out of it.
Yeah, but LaMelo, I think I like his chances of winning Rookie of the Year if he's anything that he's advertised to be. Yeah. Once again, I'm waiting to see him play against NBA talent because his path was so different that I just don't trust it at all.
Another side note, that the forward I told you about, he played at Chino Hills with him.
Oh yeah, that's who it was. That's who it was.
Yep.
You're right.
He averaged 26 a game. You know?
Yeah, you're right. I do remember they kept saying that 2 top lottery picks were from Chino Hills, and that's the other one. Okay. Well, we'll see how he turned out. But LaMelo, I think he got the best chance for Rookie of the Year. I think, like Anthony Edwards, he coming into a team where he going to be the third option at best. James Wiseman coming into a championship level team. And everyone else below, they'll shock me if they put in it. So LaMelo, to me, is positioned perfectly to win Rookie of the Year because he's going to take that team by the horns.
Because he's the one that's going to literally, because he actually gets to come and run the show.
Yeah, he runs the show. And he, like, a part of Jordan drafting LaMelo is he needed a player to sell.
Somebody star power that has star power potential.
Yeah.
And LaMelo has it all. LaMelo has it personality-wise. He probably has the best personality for like the attitude you want your star to have. Mm-hmm. So that's somebody that definitely fits what Jordan needs and has been needed for a long time. Because Kemba Walker was more soft-spoken than anything. Mm-hmm. LaMelo is not going to be soft-spoken. Yeah. I mean, I think he gets to be himself there. And it's also good for his career to have somebody like Jordan to be able to talk to. Because I really think that if Jordan wants to really turn his woes as an owner around, you need to take in LaMelo and like literally hone in. And even if I'm LaMelo, like forget all the BS like with your father. Like I definitely want to come in and work with Jordan.
Yeah,
I want to get in the gym with Jordan. I want to pick his brain.
Well, speaking of his dad, like I mean, he
101.
That one, I don't want to talk about that. But he got 2 of his sons in the NBA, both of them top 3 picks, and his other son is in the G League right now with the potential. Yeah. His son is in the G League on the Thunder, and the Thunder are pretty much in rebuild mode. So at some point during the season, he could get called up to play on the Thunder, and he'll have 3 sons in the NBA.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Ball family for that. But let's move on to the Bulls. I'm going to just let you take this one. They drafted Patrick Williams.
All right. Because you Bull fans be so extra, man. When I say Bull fans be so extra, like when I said something on Facebook, I got Bulls fans messaging me, commenting, saying like, oh my God, like, look, this guy he has potential. Everybody in the draft has potential, fam. Mm. One thing to me is like I seen somebody say something about Devin Booker. Devin Booker came off the bench. Devin Booker averaged 10 points a game. Devin Booker also played at Kentucky.
Yeah.
1. 2, Devin Booker was the 13th pick overall, not the 4th pick. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I went in and I had to go dig, and I was looking at different draft boards and different mocks. I think the highest they had him going was 7. 7 and 4 is a big difference regardless.
Yeah.
The other 2 mock drafts I saw was 13 and 14. You know what I'm saying? like, yeah, I feel like you can draft somebody off potential, but it's also value with that pick. And we see this in a lot of sports, NBA, you know what I'm saying, MLB, you know, like NFL. You like, I get it. You have a need. You know what I'm saying? You have a need. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the best player available.
See, now my thing about this pick is because I learned about Patrick Williams as they was drafting. And they said Patrick Williams. I said, "Oh, who is that?" They said, "What is it? Florida State."
Florida State.
Florida State. I said,
Sixth man of the year for the conference.
I said, I don't know that many Florida States. Then they showed he was a 6 man. I said, he's a 6 man drafted number 4. Okay. Then they showed 9.4 rebounds. I said, 9.4 rebounds. This sounds like Anthony Bennett to me. This is very curious. My thing about the Bulls is if this is your guy, which is clearly was their guy, you knew you didn't have to draft him at number 4. You could have traded back.
You could have went to 5 and took him. I'd have been more comfortable at that.
I feel like they could have went to 10 and found him.
Like, I'm just saying. I'm just because the Spurs went and took the other guy from Florida State who averaged 13 points a game. You know what I'm saying? And they took him at 11. So that's why I'm like, it's hard for me to sit there and swallow this. Like, it's like you just with the 4th pick overall, you don't take a guy that was 6 man of their conference. 9 points. I get it. He has potential. I'm hearing Kawhi. I'm hearing like Jimmy. I'm hearing no.
This feels like when the Bears drafted Mitchell Trubisky.
I feel like this is a big reach.
Feels like that to me.
This is a big reach.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying dude's not gonna be good. I'm not saying dude's gonna be bad. What I'm saying is you better pray dude good because we're gonna revisit this. And if dude sucks.
That's my thing. I don't think he's going to be a terrible NBA player just because if you got the work ethic, he got the body. Yeah. Like if you could look at him and you could see the skills and you could see the body. I watched him play.
3-and-D guy and they say he could shoot.
Yeah, I watched him play a little bit of pickup. He could dribble a little bit.
So why didn't he start? You know, and he goes to and that's what it comes down to too. Why didn't he start? We could tell you why Devin Booker didn't start at Kentucky. Why everybody wants to sit there and throw that in our face. Devin Booker didn't start in Kentucky because Kentucky is pretty much the NBA pre-draft league. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it was just a different situation. Like, I mean, Kentucky bench players still come out. Like you talk about Devin Booker, a player we was talking about earlier, Eric Bledsoe. Like, he wasn't the star attraction at Kentucky or whatever. But this isn't Kentucky, like you was alluded to. This is Florida State. It's just a very like he could I think his ceiling is a great role player. But I'm also still seeing people compare him to Kawhi Leonard now. They're saying that he has the
Kawhi didn't go that high though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and even then, like I don't know. I don't see Kawhi. But when Kawhi was young, I didn't see what he was gonna be either. So.
Kawhi was a power forward in college. He learned a lot of his skills. So like when you compare him to Kawhi, and you're saying this guy has all these skills. Now my question is, why didn't he start then? Because Kawhi was dominant in college. He just wasn't. He just wasn't the player that he is now. Like he's definitely like way better than he was in college because he learned and he grew.
Yeah, to me, he feels like a player that should have went to a contending team or something like that, and that they'll figure out how to deal with him.
Yeah.
But any other little draft news you want to hit on? Anything that hit in the draft?
Another note for the Hornets, they also took the center out of Duke. What's his name? Vernon Carney Jr.
Speaking of Duke, there was not that high level Duke player in this draft this year.
No, not really.
The first Duke player I felt was late in the first or second round.
It might have been this guy right here.
Yeah, that might have been him.
He was drafted 32nd, 33rd, something like that. Mm-hmm. So it was just, I mean, outside of that, Cole Anthony.
Yeah, my boy Cole. He up in Orlando. Like,
proud of him. I see he got his Pop's old number 50.
Yeah, he had Spike Lee at his draft thing. That was huge. But like he living my dream. I don't know how many times I mentioned it on here, but like my NBA dream was to get drafted by the Orlando Magic make millions of dollars, make an all-star game every now and then, just not have that pressure on me to make it and win. That's why I always thought Dwight had the greatest of setups before he won it out. But he's there now with my boy Fultz. They got my whole point guard factory over there and everything.
Anyways, back to Cole Anthony. Speaking of somebody who cried, Cole Anthony was a person that really cried. If somebody, we're North Carolina guys, and if you don't understand what he went through all season, somebody that was highly touted and probably could have had a better season at North Carolina, but injuries just hindered his development and his playing time, and he couldn't get it back. And it's just amazing to see him, still go first round, go top 15th overall to Orlando, where he's definitely like, this kid is humble and he's ready, and he had an
lottery.
An NBA father, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, I think he's ready. He could low key be the steal of the draft.
I think so.
He could really, because the potential was really there. It was just a lot of injuries that hindered him in his college season. So just some I'm really excited to see him play.
Absolutely. And the lottery is 1 through 14, right?
Yeah, 1 through 14.
Okay, so no, he was not the last pick of the lottery. First pick outside the lottery. But another person that I was excited about was Obi Toppin, New York kid, repping New York, going to New York Knicks. That was a very exciting move to me. I think they also got Emmanuel Quickley.
Yeah.
They got Emmanuel Quickley. I like both of those moves together or whatever. So finally something good for the Knicks. I want to hit on Marcus Howard. He went undrafted. I didn't even see who signed him. Somebody signed him after the draft. I was borderline shocked he went undrafted. He was like one of the best scorers in college basketball. College basketball is kind of weird. The best scorers are always the ones that fall in the draft or whatever, just because he was one of those players that went all 4 years.
Yeah.
And where did he go? To the Wizards?
That was a steal at 11.
Yeah.
That was a steal. Yeah. I thought that should have been a Bulls pick, but hey, who am I? Maybe just Patrick. I'm going to tell you like this. If Denny, and we had our remnants about Denny.
Denny be good.
If Denny turns out to be the best player in this draft or one of the top players in this draft and Patrick Williams flops, oh my God. Because we seen Denny on a lot of the draft boards going to the Bulls. I don't know what they thought was going on, because I felt like the Warriors would have took him if they moved back. But I don't know what they thought and what they saw. But hey, I mean, I know that they said the Wizards wanted this guy the whole time, and he failed, and he was sitting there. There was no way they weren't going to take him.
They got him and the Rue guy, the Japanese player, I believe he is. Yeah, so they got
Rudy Hachimura
players. Speaking of the Wizards, you see John Wall demanded a trade? How dare he? I love John Wall.
Has he played? He played like 2 years, right?
Literally, like 2 calendar years. I think the last time we seen him was 2018, the end of 2018.
First of all, who wants him?
That's another problem. Nobody, because his contract is bananas.
Your contract is bananas. We haven't seen you play in 2 years. Man, you got to show us something if we going to come in and make a move for you.
Yeah, I think the guy was saying he was upset that they want to build around Beal, but I mean, Beal's the best player on the team right now. Unless he comes back and shows he's that guy, I believe he can, but he's not shown us anything
I like Wall. Yeah. I like Wall, but Beal has been the guy that's been consistent, been picking up the slack when you were gone, and how could you be mad at that?
Yeah. I've seen that, and then he was upset that he was involved in trade rumors with Westbrook.
Everybody's involved in trade rumors.
I don't understand why either side would do that trade. It's like a same player move, even though they're the same player. It just feels like they're the same player. So
I mean, like you said, how dare you, John Wall? Like, wow, hunters.
Yeah, that was a crazy one. But that's all I got for this week, though. Anything else you want to hit on with the free agency and the draft? A lot went on, and I tried my best to condense it as much as possible, because you've seen the original plan. The original plan was to go through all 30 teams. But
I was like, whoa, you said.
What happened was
all 30?
I started writing down all 30 teams, like numbering them. 1, Atlanta Hawks. 2, I think it was Brooklyn. or whatever. I started numbering. I got to like 15, and I was like, "Yo, I'm not about to talk about
Hey, this show was gonna be like 5 hours long.
it." Was definitely gonna be a long.
We was gonna have a free agency draft special.
Whole recap. What I was planning on doing was to just chop it up into a bunch of videos, but that's just too many videos for people to be trying to watch. So I feel like this was the best way to handle it.
Yeah.
I hope that it worked out. We hit on all the major points. I feel like Brooklyn got Landry Shamet and Jeff Green. I forgot to mention that, which is incredible pickups for them. I cannot wait to see the NBA go off. Like I mentioned earlier, the 76ers Nets, that's going to be a real good battle and everything. We see if Boston and Miami and Toronto and some of those teams want to peek their head.
Toronto resigned Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, they did. They got Fred back. They signed Aaron Baines before we went live as well to cover up for Marc Gasol and Ibaka's exits.
So that's pretty good.
Let me see if I had any more free agents.
And that was pretty good moves right there.
Yeah, I had Christian Wood going to the Rockets, which I love. Which is, I talk about the cross lateral move between John Wall and Westbrook, but if John Wall could be John Wall of old, he will work out really well with Harden and whatever they got.
Probably better.
Yeah, way better. And then I don't think Harden is going nowhere no time.
But the problem is I don't like Westbrook with Bill.
I don't either, but I don't like the Wizards, so I don't care. And then one more thing before we get off it. NBA, could you please just let these teams that draft these players wear their hat if they're traded? Like, or just announce the team that traded for the pick.
I don't know why they changed that.
Like, if the Lakers, I don't even know if because I looked at it when I was putting together my Vince Carter graphics or whatever back in the back when he retired or whatever. He had to wear the Warriors hat, I think it was, even though they had traded the pick. So it's been going on like that.
It was time they made him come back and change it, though.
No, they're like exchange. But they knew before he took that stage that he was going to the Warriors, and they let him walk across the stage. Yeah. I hate that. I think what's the kid name? RJ Hampton. His dad took the Milwaukee Bucks hat and like chucked it across the room, because they had traded him to Denver. So it was like, what are we wearing this Bucks hat for? And he like threw it across the room or whatever.
We forgot to really mention him.
RJ Hampton?
Yeah.
You mentioned RJ Hampton there.
I just want to apply. I want to apply Denver. Like, they just always find like some diamond in the rough. Bobo was pretty good for the last year in the spurts that he was. And you know what I'm saying?
Michael Porter.
The steal of Michael Porter, who probably was the best player in the draft. Jamal Murray pickup. Who seen this coming? You know what I'm saying?
Did they draft Jokic?
They didn't draft him. They traded for him. But excellent,
because they drafted Nurkic also. Nurkic was in Denver before he went to Portland. Yep. So, if Denver calling me about a draft, I might hang up on them and take the player they want. For real,
RJ is gonna be really, really key because it's almost when you look at their two guard spot. You know, he probably could eventually end up starting down the line for them.
Yeah, because Gary Harris ain't the answer as of now. We'll see if he.
And he's undersized, and RJ is about 6'5", 6'6". You know, so I mean, it's just something really, really interesting to see. And the kid is athletic as ever. Yeah. So I'm very, very intrigued when they take anybody.
Yeah, he fell because of that whole Australia move that he made. We'll see if that turns out to be a mistake by all the teams before him. But it sure didn't hurt LaMelo. He can still win.
And they played against, and they got a chance to play against each other too.
Yeah, LaMelo was more of a feature on his team than RJ was, though. Like RJ, I don't believe was pretty much averaging much because he was part of.
I think he got hurt. I think RJ.
He did get hurt.
LaMelo ended up getting hurt down the line too.
Yeah, I think LaMelo. To me, LaMelo sat out the rest of the year.
But LaMelo played more games than RJ.
Yeah,
so that's probably what hurt him too.
Yeah, I can't wait to start this season. I've been grinding my player in 2K. I wanted to start my franchise. I know we was talking about starting. Yeah. If we start a franchise, I promise you, I'm recording it and I'm putting it on this channel in some way on Instagram.
Hey, look, man, I'm going Minnesota Timberwolves all day.
I'm not sure yet where I want to go.
I think I'm going Minnesota.
I'm not sure where I want to go. I was thinking Orlando Magic to go build Cole Anthony's career, but I'm not 100% sure.
I ain't even gonna lie. The Hornets is intriguing to me too.
No, oh my god, I meant to. We talked this whole thing out on that. I meant to text you. I had played with the Hornets on 2K.
Ooh.
LaMelo is so unfair because he's like 6'7", and then every time I would come off I'll just throw it up to Miles Bridges. He'd just come out of nowhere.
Bro, I was thinking like, because the Anthony Edwards factor with the D-Lo and the Karl Anthony Towns, but I'm just like thinking about that potential of that LaMelo.
Yeah.
Man,
no, I can't wait for the season to start just because I want to see all these.
I need this roster update right away. Hurry up.
Yeah, that's what. Oh my god, I'm so hurt. Clay got hurt because you know how much we talked about them going into next season. Get well soon, Clay. One of the greats in the league.
Yes, one of the greatest shooters of all time.
Oh, absolutely. But,
top 5. He's top 3 actually.
Yeah, but I can't wait for the season to start because also we can set them rosters and get them franchises going. But
yes,
that's all I got. Irrelevant ignorance. We out.
We out, y'all.